What is going on, everybody? It's Alex back with another video, and today we're talking about GTA 6. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume, based on the comments that I get on my videos and things of this sort, many of you guys are probably disappointed today. Last night was the Game Awards, and obviously at the Game Awards there was no announcement for GTA 6. There was a huge rumor going around. It seemed like basically half the community at least was believing that there would be a GTA 6 announcement at the Game Awards last night, and it seemed that a lot of people really had a lot of faith in this. And of course, since the announcement, never came, it seems that a lot of people are very disappointed right now. With that being said, I think also a very large portion of the audience didn't really see it as being all that feasible. I myself, I definitely kept I kept the possibility open that we could be getting a GTA 6 announcement last night, but I really didn't see that happening, and that's the main reason why I never really made a video on it. This is not something that I really saw as being much of a possibility. But either way, since we didn't get an announcement or really anything from the Game Awards last night, that kind of puts us at a point where we're back to the drawing board and not knowing when the game is coming out. So I want to make this video kind of just as an open-ended discussion. I want to let you guys know exactly what my thoughts are on GTA 6, kind of dissecting some of the things, all the information we have, kind of giving you an idea of at least me being someone who's fairly informed in this subject matter. I definitely stay up to date. I keep you guys updated with everything. I want you guys to kind of see inside my head and see what I'm thinking of. I post a lot of videos talking about, individual bits of information and what I think about, those individual bits that I'm making the video out of. But I haven't really made too many videos kind of discussing my thoughts on the entirety of the game, kind of dissecting everything that we've looked at and giving you guys my opinion on what I think is possible, what I think is not possible, things of this sort. So I want to kind of touch on the release date. I want to, touch on what I actually think the game is going to look like, talk about the rumors and everything. And I also want to open up the discussion to you guys. In the comments, I want to hear what you guys have to say. What do you guys think about the game? Do you think we have any pieces of information at all? Or do you think that everything has just been rumors that people are starting for attention? I really want to have a discussion in the comments, so let me know. I will definitely be interacting with you guys. Let's get the comments moving. So let's start it off from when I think we're actually going to get the announcement. I personally think that it's very unlikely that we're going to get an announcement in 2019. I mean, let's think about it. We really only have a little over 2 weeks left of 2019, and they're really, obviously, no, there's no real big events or anything like that, but it is important to notice that, Rockstar doesn't really announce a whole lot of games at big events. Something I hear over and over again is that, Rockstar does this, Rockstar does that, Rockstar has never done this, all this stuff. I don't really think that's a valid argument. Companies change all the time, and yes, GTA and Red Dead Redemption, they did seem to have a very similar kind of marketing strategy and everything, but also things internally change all the time, and we have a pretty good understanding. It seems very likely that Grand Theft Auto 6 has a pretty significant deal with Sony this go around. So, I mean, it really does make a lot of sense that they could be announcing it through Sony. I really think you guys need to keep your mind open that, what we've been hearing, how Rockstar has approached these situations with announcements and release dates and things like that in the past. I don't really think that's really the way it's going to go down this time. I think it's more important to kind of keep your eyes open to the possibility that something else could happen. A lot of people are like, no, it's announcing right now because we're going to get it in 2 years. There's no way we could get it past, this date. Therefore, this is when we're going to get it. I think that's a little ignorant. I think you need to keep your eyes open that really anything could happen. It seems very likely that they would announce the game and then a year or two later is when we're going to actually get the game. But we also have to keep it open to where, maybe they're going to do what they did with one of the Fallout games. I believe this was Fallout 4, where they literally announce it very, very late, and then like in a month or two, we get the game. With most games coming out, yeah, they're gonna have to kind of build up the hype over a long period of time, at least a decent amount of time, to be able to actually get enough people interested in the game and, things of this sort. But you guys have to realize GTA 6 is guaranteed no matter if they could literally just say, yeah, download it now. It's released now. And it would still be the biggest game ever. This is how big Grand Theft Auto is. So it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not saying it's likely, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did something kind of weird with their marketing this time around just to see what would happen. Grand Theft Auto 6 does not need marketing. Just, Twitter and Instagram and Reddit and all of these things, that is going to sell the game itself. That's going to get the word around. I mean, they really don't even have to have a marketing budget for a game like this. So I know that's a little bit of a rant. I'm rambling a little too much, but what I'm trying to say here is just because it seems like they've done something pretty consistently in the past doesn't mean that that's guaranteed to be what they're going to do. So I want you guys to kind of keep your eyes open. So when it comes to announcement date, getting back to that, I don't really have an idea of, oh, certainly it's going to be here, certainly it's going to be here. It seems like, it's probably going to be next year. I would put my money on at some point next year. I know it doesn't really narrow it down a whole lot, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. I guess my biggest assumption about this is maybe first quarter or like beginning of second quarter next year. We're probably going to get some kind of trailer, some kind of announcement, or maybe just a logo drop or something like that. We're going to get some kind of information. And then we're probably going to be getting, drip fed some information throughout the year. And I would estimate, my guess has basically always been 2021 for a release date. Obviously, this is all speculation on my part. I really have nothing to base this off of. This is just more or less my opinion, kind of looking at what things are happening. I don't think it's going to be, a lot of people think it's going to be, a 2023 release date or like 5 years away, things like this. I find it very hard to believe it's going to do that. I believe that it is definitely going to be the next Rockstar game, at least the big game. So I believe within the next 2 years or so, we're going to be seeing GTA 6. But I really don't think it's right around the corner either. As much as I would like to have it next year, I know there's a big rumor that it's going to be coming out with the PlayStation 5. I don't necessarily find that super likely either. All right, so I know there was a big rumor about a year ago talking about this game being a Sony exclusive game, and people still are in my comments all the time talking about how, no, you're wrong, this is going to be a Sony game. So let's touch on this a little bit because it seems like there's a lot of confusion about this subject. There was a quote-unquote leak, but we'll call it a rumor that came out a while ago that basically it was a Sony insider and he was talking about how the game would be a Sony exclusive. I believe this happened about a year ago, but there really wasn't a whole lot to back it up. So, I mean, that's really the leak right there. That's what people have been freaking out about. It was some Sony insider, an incredible Sony insider, but talking about it being a Sony exclusive, and people were saying, oh, if you have an Xbox, you're not going to be able to play it. If you have a PC, you're not going to be able to play it. And yeah, I just don't see that happening. I find that very, very, very unlikely that it would be a complete Sony exclusive. I just think the possibilities of that happening is very, very small. The thing is, you have to realize these are businesses, and maybe if this was a smaller game and they could use the money, the lump sum of cash that Sony would be able to give them, if that, development team, the company, the parent company, if they could use that money immediately, that would be a great deal. But the thing is once again, GTA 6 is going to be the biggest game ever. I imagine it's going to be as big, if not bigger, as GTA 5. Certainly the opening weekend will be bigger than GTA 5, but assuming it's actually a really solid game comparable to GTA 5, over the next 5-6 years, it'll probably be on everybody's console, just like GTA 5 is. I mean, don't quote me on this, but I believe I heard that somewhere around 80% of consoles own GTA 5. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. And the thing is, the company is going to want to do the same thing with GTA 6. That is the end goal. They want to recreate what they did with Grand Theft Auto 5. And as you can see, Grand Theft Auto 5 saturated the market to such an extreme extent that even though PlayStation is bigger than Xbox and PlayStation is bigger than PC, they still made millions, if not billions of dollars off of Xbox and off of PC. And the amount of money that Sony would have to dish out for them to lose out on those billions of dollars that they made from Xbox and PC, I just don't think it would be worth it for Sony. They would literally have to give up so much money to be able to secure this deal that it would basically just bankrupt Sony. Because again, we're not talking about millions of dollars. We're not talking about tens of millions or hundreds of millions. We are literally talking about if Sony wanted to buy out GTA 6 and have it where Rockstar was not allowed to sell it for Xbox and PlayStation, or for Xbox and PC, Sony would literally have to dish out billions of dollars. That billions of dollars is not going to make up for their sales. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. So the thought of GTA 6 being a Sony exclusive, really, yeah, let's just debunk that. Let's move away from that rumor. It is not going to only be playable on the PlayStation 5 or whatever the next console is. With that being said, I don't want to discredit this PlayStation insider because I believe that he was actually correct. I believe he just kind of had the wrong terminology. I do believe that GTA 6 is going to be a Sony exclusive In a different sense, I believe that Sony is going to have the marketing rights for GTA 6. This is something that I've mentioned in many of my videos. And I also believe that there's probably going to be certain content updates that are Sony exclusive. I just don't believe that it's going to be a exclusive game in the sense of you can only play it on Sony consoles. I mean, let's look back at Red Dead Redemption 2. Many of you guys may not know this, but Red Dead Redemption 2 has they partnered up with Sony for RDR2. There's certain content that PlayStation users get first. There's certain content that only PlayStation users get. I encourage you to look up any trailer of Red Dead Redemption 2 and you will see, something to do with Sony or PlayStation at the end. Maybe it says best played on PlayStation. That is because Red Dead Redemption 2 is, in a sense, a Sony exclusive. They have marketing rights and they have content rights. So very clearly, Rockstar Games is working with Sony. They do have a partnership. They are working together. It seems likely that at very least that would carry over to GTA 6, meaning that, in a sense, it is a Sony exclusive, just not in the way that a lot of people are interpreting it. I feel like that is very likely. I think it's quite possible that Sony users would be getting certain content maybe a little earlier. Maybe there's going to be, cosmetic items or something like that that Sony users would get that nobody else gets. But the thought that they're going to get the entire game and nobody else is, it's just not happening. So please, as I mentioned a minute ago, let's just move away from that, realize that that's just not going to happen, and move on to more important things. Now, it seems that when we first started having a big discussion about GTA 6, basically everything, every, quote-unquote leak or rumor that was coming out had to do with the release date, when we'd be seeing the game, when we'd be getting the game, things of this sort. It seems over the past year or so, things have really changed and people have been more moving towards what the game is actually going to look like, and that's what I want to talk about now. The final point that I want to make, kind of my observations and my opinion on the subject is, what is GTA 6 going to be? Is it going to be basically GTA 5? Is it going to, take place in a different area? What is it going to look like? Now, we have gotten all kinds of speculation, all kinds of quote-unquote leaks, all kinds of rumors about where it was going to take place, the location, the era, all of these things. And it seems that there's one thing that kind of adds up significantly more than anything else. And I made a video about this, I believe, last week or so, but I genuinely believe that the Project America's idea seems the most likely. And if you guys aren't 100% up to date on what the Project America's idea is, let me bring you up to speed. Basically, the general concept is that you are starting off as some kind of drug dealer, something like this in the 70s around Miami, or in this universe, Vice City. And you kind of work your way up through the drug cartel until you are some kind of drug lord. As I mentioned, if this is true, the game would take place in the 70s, something like that. And as you are growing up, as you are working your way through the drug cartel and everything, you're actually experiencing, you're going through times and decades. So it's talking about, 70s and 80s. You would probably go through the 90s, the 2000s, the teens, everything like that. And then by the time you actually make it to online, so essentially, online would take place after the campaign in terms of chronological order, and online would be modern. Now, if you guys want to look into the details and the specifics on what this, I guess we have to call it a rumor at this point because we're not sure if it's a leak. If you want to look into that, there's plenty of videos of people talking about that. You can just type in Project Americas on YouTube, on Google, anything, and you'll be able to read in depth what people are saying. But to me, this idea seems the most likely. There's many things that make me believe that. Again, check out my last video. I talk about all the correlations and why there's multiple things that are pointing towards this. But I genuinely believe that if we have a leak, if there truly is a rumor out there that turns out to be real, I personally think it would be this. Just as I mentioned before, it seems like there's a lot of things that point in this direction. So in summary, basically over the year or so of covering this game, the conclusion that I'm at right now is that we are probably going to get some sort of announcement, I would say in the first half of 2020, and then I would like to think we're going to get a release date around 2021. Now, obviously, this is speculation. It could be moved. Maybe this is, I'm guessing, when they first have it, and then we're going to get multiple delays. I have no idea what's going to happen, but that's kind of what I think is going to happen. I think it is going to be, I think Sony's going to have marketing rights for the game, but I certainly do not think that Xbox and PC players are going to be left out of the equation. I definitely believe that everybody is going to be able to play the game. And then I do believe that Project Americas is going to be, the whole idea behind Project Americas is going to be how the game actually plays out. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this was more of an update, giving you guys my thoughts on everything. I'm not actually bringing any real new information to this video. I'm just kind of updating you guys on, what we have, and coming from someone who really keeps up with all this information. Day to day, I am reading, I am researching, and I'm staying updated. This is kind of the conclusion that I've came to. I know it's very difficult if you guys watch some of the other GTA 6 content creators. It seems like there's two big ones, and both of them try to clickbait like crazy. They try to get people to believe things that aren't necessarily true. They kind of tinker with some of the information to make it, blend into their points just a little bit more. And that definitely bothers me. That's not the goal of my channel. That's not what I'm trying to do. I try to bring the information to you guys, clear and concise, and then give you guys an opinion on it so you guys can make your own educated decision on it. I'm certainly not trying to lie to you guys and bring you information that's not real. I try to just keep you guys updated with the community, and then obviously you guys can make the opinion on it yourselves. But I genuinely do want to hear what you guys have to say. Do you agree with me? Do you think that all of my points are correct in my speculations? Are you speculating the same exact way? Do you think everything is complete crap? I mean, I'm genuinely curious on what you guys, where you guys think GTA 6 is right now. Make sure to let me know down in the comments. But that does it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys for the support. Peace out. Only got one eye, but even I can't see that when it comes to this wall-running mercenary game in a world of nobodies, I'm the #1 name. Elvis, Helios, Pandora, and space. My model wheel takes me all over the place. And wherever I go, I'm in minds and hearts. Don't need to climb stairs when I'm climbing these charts. Lilith, Roland, those other two dudes didn't come to my birthday party. Rude, but they all found time to go fight the warrior. Like, this me like some